G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. Yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. We have a GTR in the shed. It actually belongs to my good friend and workmate, Danny.
How you going, guys?
He actually owns two of these, a 32 and a 33, just like I used to. I used to have a 32 and a 33, so it's good getting back to my Nissan blood. I'm not really a Honda boy, but today we're gonna try and diagnose a misfire, and we're gonna fit up some Raceworks R35 GTR coils and billet bracket, and hopefully this fixes the issue. So welcome back to the channel, everyone. Yep, today we're gonna get stuck into working on an R33 GTR, my personal favorite, hence the t-shirt of all the GTRs. If you've driven every single model like I have and owned almost every single model like I have, you'll know this one is the best, even though it's not the most popular, but that's good because it means you can get it a bit cheaper. But that's not why we're here. Today we are here because this is a pretty close to a 30-year-old car. It's got some wiring gremlins. Now, these are synonymous with wiring gremlins. I myself had to buy two different sets of coil packs. I started with used ones, then I bought OEM ones, changed the wiring loom, changed the igniter, then I went to change the ECU, all sorts of stuff, chasing problems. This car is actually got a bit of a misfire breaking up. Danny's already changed all the spark plugs, so we're sweet there. We know it's not that. The next thing that I suggested was to change the coil packs and the wiring loom and just do it all in one go. Don't bother with used coils or swapping out old other 30-year-old looms because you're gonna end up with probably a similar issue. So what we're gonna do today is pull the cover off here. Now, the V groove in the twin cam head on the RB26 is quite deep, and the coil packs actually sit quite a long way down inside the cylinder head. So 30 years of quite high temperatures, and let's face it, these things get a bit of a hiding, so gets quite hot sometimes. Tends to cook your factory coils and also the wiring that goes with it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that sorts out this issue. If not, it's back to the drawing board. Because we work together and I know these cars pretty well, drop in the comments below what type of mods you think we should do to this car. It's pretty well stock ECU. It does have the mushroom air filters, stock airflow meters, HKS hard pipe there, a little bit of silicon hose, oil filter relocation. That is a trust one. For some reason, all the oil related stuff, they have Grex written on it, but that's trust or Greddy. Front mount oil cooler, exhaust, most likely a cat back, some suspension, and a nice set of rims. Let's check those bad boys out. So yeah, sits nice, sits perfect. It's got a few nice trim bits. Otherwise, nice and mint inside. Momo wheel.
HKS coilovers.
HKS coilovers, bam.
Yeah, I think we can wind them down a little bit.
Yeah, we could. Gucci coilovers. But yeah, these to me are the best ultimate GTR. We've got the Ganadors, flex there, and the Aero bonnet. So not sure what brand that is, probably like Bomex or something.
Pretty sure it's a hacked up OEM one.
Oh, hacked up OE. There you go, with some fiberglass bits. Oh yes.
Pretty horrible.
Oh yeah. Don't look at that. Just ignore that you saw that. Yeah, mint. So now that the engine bay's cooled down, I'm gonna get to work just pulling the cover off here. Few, they look like 6mm or 5mm hex bolts. Pop those out. Disconnect just here the breather, and then disconnect the igniter, loom out, and coils out. And then I can show you the new Raceworks ones, which is mint. You might ask why we're sticking R35 genuine Hitachi coils in, because these ones are future-proofing it. If you do want to change the ECU, up the boost, change the turbos, go to a big single, high mount, twin low mounts, whatever you want to do, you're never going to run out of spark with those coils. So we were lucky enough to get these, stick them in the car. They will work as an OEM replacement, but they are also a performance upgrade for the future. So yeah. So stage one of the coil pack swap over is done. Firstly, you got to remove all the hex bolts in the top and unplug the igniter. Next up, we're going to unplug all the coil packs and undo all of these bolts, take those out. And we're going to be saying goodbye to all of those scummy old stock Nissan coils. The coils sit really, really deep down, like the cams are up here. They sit well down below the camshafts, deep in the head of the RB engine. And you can now understand why these things cook themselves so hard. All the plugs become brittle. All these wires in here, they're only pretty thin. And yeah, they're just over time, like this is right here. This car's only been driven for 10 minutes. I can't even put my hand on here for longer than a few seconds without being very uncomfortable. And so you can imagine all these bad boys in here. One quick tip, whenever you're under the bonnet of a Skyline, always get your Phillips head out and see these Phillips head rocker cover screws. Give them all a little bit of a nip up because they'll all be slightly loose. And then you'll be leaking oil inside the valley, inside your coils, and always down your block. And there's no real fix for it because they just rattle themselves loose. Alrighty, everything's out. It's still absolutely boiling in there. We've given everything a bit of a clean. You can see it's really, really deep. Like there's my hand disappearing down into the center. So that's why these things cook themselves. I went around and tightened up every single bolt, and they needed about 2 full turns at least. Some even needed 4 turns to tighten up. So just be mindful of these. They always come loose. We're going to stick this guy in now. So this is the new one with the new loom and old crusty loom. You can see there, it actually looks really, really good, but you'll never know. All of those plugs and terminals, they're really thin inside and they've just been cooked a million times. So hopefully this fixes it. If not, we've got much bigger issues. We're also ditching this igniter. Now these are the first thing that cook themselves, like over and above everything else. They sit at the highest point at the back of the engine bay. About, I don't know, 2013, 14, when I had my 32, I replaced 3 of these second hand and they're about $400 a pop. I don't even want to know what they're worth now. The old bracket's in 2 pieces and they have these big fat old 80s coils. These are the same coils in an R32 that came out in 1989. They just used the exact same design in the 33. So big boys. But yeah, the kit comes with these nicely machined standoffs. So you screw those in underneath this billet plate and then you put the coils in and then screw them down. Comes with all the hardware. So you get the 3 bolts for the standoff, 1 here, 1 there and 1 there. Comes with the bolts, washers and everything for the coil packs in the top. And then each of these coils, these are genuine Hitachi coils. And if you want this kit for yourself, head over to spoolup.com.au. We're going to have these listed on the site by the time this video goes live. So you'll be able to grab these, do this yourself. It's really simple. You need an Allen key, a 12 mil, and that's pretty much it. And probably some better gloves than these because it is pretty warm in there. Otherwise, let the car cool down overnight and do it the next day. But yeah, really simple. Unplug, plug in and out, done. All right, so the coils are in. We'll show you those fitted up in just a moment, but I suppose we're going to talk about this. Now, this is one thing that doesn't come with the kit. This is from Platinum Racing Products. I'm sure you could either get some somewhere else or make your own, but this is the plug and play loom. You ditch the igniter. This goes straight on, all plugs up to your factory plugs, and these are the correct plugs for the R35 coils, and it's just a matter of click, 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 and it all plugs in. So we'll just get most of that on. Very important, don't forget this is your little earth. I'm going to put that onto these spare screw holes at the back here once everything else is bolted down, because otherwise I'm going to lose screws. Setup is now plugged in and complete. Looks awesome. One thing to note though is the coil pack cover doesn't quite go on. You can choose to modify it by just cutting out the back section here, which would give good ventilation and allow all the plugs to clear. It clears all the coil packs through here, or you can buy aftermarket ones that are pretty well flat, which wouldn't be a bad idea as well. But if you are doing lots of hills runs and performance driving, one old GTR hack is to leave that off completely so that the heat comes out. And yeah, it'll just help keep the coil packs nice and cool, or cooler than they normally would be, but does look cool with this on. So if you can either track down one that you don't mind chopping up or get one of the flat ones, that would be an awesome hack to finish that off. But they're in. We're going to fire the car up now and see if there's a miss anymore. So let's do that. I reckon that's a success. We should take it for a quick drive and see how it goes now. Alrighty everyone, we've just done a first drive. Hopefully if you saw some nice rolling shots of the GTR on the way here, it's because they turned out alright. I was just pretty much filming out of the window. I was in my K-Swap Civic, and if you're wondering why we don't have a video of us racing, well, who said we didn't race? But also it's on video and we don't want to go to jail, so no footage of any of that sort of stuff. But good news is the car is not breaking up anymore. However, it's an old GTR and we still have some gremlins. You might have heard the idle is hunting up and down. That is a common issue with airflow meters and things like that. Other stock parts, idle air control valves, all that sort of stuff on these old cars tends to die and get a bit funny after a while. Could do with a clean, could just be old and just doesn't work anymore. So rather than replace that sort of stuff, we may as well upgrade it. The other small issue, it's nothing to do with the coils or the loom or any of that sort of stuff, is there's some kind of a tuning issue or sensor issue. The car doesn't break up, like I said, but it sort of is dropping off the power band towards the end. So whether there's an issue with boost, whether there's an issue with timing, could be crank angle sensor, could be O2 sensors, could be airflow meters, all that sort of stuff we don't know about. So we'll probably keep diagnosing to try and get this thing right and just replace all the parts until it's brand new to get rid of that misfire. But mission success. What do you reckon, Dan?
I think it turned out really well. Bracket fit in really nicely. Shame we didn't have a aftermarket coil cover to go on top to finish it off. But overall, great success.
Well, if you want to grab yourself a set of R35 GTR coils and the Raceworks billet bracket, jump over to spoolup.com.au, grab yourself a full setup. Like I said, you'll need to source your own loom for now, but that's going to wrap it up for tonight. We're going to put it to sleep next to the ED and also Rhonda. They can all look after each other, talk amongst themselves. Spool up, bring the boost, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
See you later, guys.